Why does it feel like the moment you start getting close to someone, they suddenly pull away? You're texting, laughing, connecting, and then out of nowhere, she becomes distant. The responses get shorter. The enthusiasm fades. She backs away, and you're left wondering what you did wrong. But here's what I discovered after years of making this exact mistake over and over again. There's actually a counterintuitive response that not only prevents you from looking desperate, but actually makes her more attracted to you. And I'm going to share the complete system with you today. But first, you need to understand why your current approach is sabotaging your chances. If you've experienced this pulling away pattern, you're not alone. This happens to countless people, and it's one of the most confusing experiences in dating. You replay every conversation, every moment, searching for the mistake you must have made. But here's the thing most guys completely miss. Her backing away might have nothing to do with you and everything to do with what's happening inside her own mind. Think about it. When someone starts to get close, when real intimacy begins to form, something vulnerable awakens. And vulnerability is terrifying. For many people, the moment they start to feel something real, every defense mechanism they've built over years of disappointment and heartbreak kicks into overdrive. She's not necessarily rejecting you. She might be protecting herself from the possibility of getting hurt. But here's where most guys destroy their chances completely. When she backs away, their instinct is to chase harder. They double down on attention, send longer texts, try to force the connection back to where it was. And this creates a psychological trap that I'll explain in detail, because understanding this trap is crucial to everything that comes next. The chasing behavior actually triggers what psychologists call reactance theory. When someone feels their freedom is being threatened, they instinctively push back harder. So when you chase someone who's pulling back, you're essentially communicating that you don't trust them to make their own decisions. You're saying that your need for connection is more important than their need for space, and that's suffocating, even when it comes from a place of genuine care. Now, here's the counterintuitive part that most people never learn. The most powerful thing you can do when someone backs away is give them space. But it's not just about giving space randomly. There's a specific way to do this that actually increases attraction, and there's a wrong way that kills it completely. The difference between these two approaches will determine whether she comes back or disappears forever. First, you need to understand the psychology behind why space works. When you give someone room to breathe, you're doing something most people never do. You're showing that you're secure enough in yourself to let relationships unfold naturally. But here's the critical part that makes or breaks this strategy. How you give that space reveals everything about your character and confidence level. The wrong way to give space is to disappear completely or start playing childish games. Some guys think giving space means ignoring her completely or acting cold and distant. This backfires because it comes from a place of hurt and resentment, and she can sense that energy immediately. The right way requires understanding something deeper about human psychology and attachment patterns. When you give space the right way, you're actually demonstrating the exact qualities that create long-term attraction. You're showing emotional maturity, self-control, and genuine care for her well-being. But there's a specific framework for doing this that I learned after studying attachment psychology and behavioral patterns in successful relationships. While you're giving her space, there's something crucial you need to do during this time. Most guys waste this opportunity by either wallowing in self-pity or plotting ways to win her back. But the guys who get the best results use this time strategically to examine their own behavior patterns, not to tear themselves apart, but to understand the dynamic that was created. Were you coming on too strong? Did you start planning a future together after just a few dates? Were you constantly seeking reassurance or validation? Sometimes we unconsciously put pressure on others without realizing it, and that pressure can feel overwhelming. But here's what's fascinating. When you identify these patterns in yourself, you're actually developing the exact skills that prevent this situation from happening again. The self-reflection process isn't about finding everything wrong with you. It's about understanding the energy you were bringing to the interaction. Maybe you were moving faster than she was comfortable with. Maybe she sensed that you were more invested in the idea of a relationship than in actually getting to know her as a person. This awareness is gold because it transforms how you approach all future interactions. But here's the part that separates the guys who get incredible results from the ones who keep repeating the same patterns. When someone backs away, you cannot control their response, but you can control yours. And your response reveals everything about who you are as a person. Do you become bitter and resentful? Do you start making assumptions about what she's thinking or feeling? Or do you respond with the kind of maturity that actually makes you more attractive? The mature response is to give space without resentment. It's to trust that if she's meant to be in your life, she'll find her way back when she's ready. And if she doesn't, then you've learned something valuable about compatibility and timing. But there's a specific mindset shift that makes this approach incredibly powerful, and it has to do with understanding how attraction actually works in the real world. Attraction often works in waves. Someone might feel intensely connected to you one day and need distance the next. This isn't necessarily a reflection of their feelings about you. It might be about their own capacity for intimacy, their fear of vulnerability, or simply their natural rhythm in relationships. The people who understand this dynamic have a massive advantage because they don't take every withdrawal personally. They don't assume that space means rejection. They understand that healthy relationships require a balance of closeness and independence, and sometimes that balance needs to be recalibrated. This understanding creates a completely different energy that people find incredibly attractive because it's so rare in today's dating world. If she does reach out again after backing away, there's a specific way to handle this that either rebuilds attraction or kills it completely. Most guys make a critical mistake in this moment that destroys all the progress they made by giving space initially. Don't immediately jump back to where you were before. Don't interrogate her about why she pulled back or make her feel guilty for needing time. Instead, acknowledge that she needed space and show that you respected that need. Simply be present and let the connection rebuild naturally. This demonstrates the exact kind of emotional intelligence that creates lasting attraction because it shows you understand how relationships actually work. And if she doesn't reach out, then you have your answer. And that's valuable information too. Someone who consistently backs away when things get real might not be ready for the kind of connection you're seeking. And that's not a failure on your part. That's simply incompatibility. And recognizing this saves you months or years of frustration. The hardest lesson to learn in dating is that you cannot love someone into staying. You cannot convince someone to choose you through persistence or grand gestures. But real connection happens when two people freely choose each other, not when one person chases the other into submission. But understanding this principle completely transforms how you approach relationships. When you give someone space to back away, you're also giving them space to come forward. You're creating an environment where their feelings can be genuine rather than pressured. And paradoxically, this often makes you more attractive, not less, because you're demonstrating the exact qualities that successful long-term relationships are built on. The people you're most drawn to in life probably aren't the ones who need constant reassurance or who panic every time you need a moment to yourself. They're probably the ones who are secure enough in themselves to give you room to breathe, to have your own thoughts and feelings, to exist as a complete person outside of your relationship with them. This is the energy you want to cultivate. Not the energy of someone who's desperate to hold on to every connection, but the energy of someone who's confident enough to let relationships unfold naturally. Someone who understands that the right person won't need to be chased, convinced, or cornered into staying. So when someone backs away, resist the urge to pursue. Instead, focus on becoming the kind of person who attracts genuine connection naturally. Work on your own emotional security. Develop interests and friendships that fulfill you independently. Become someone who adds value to others' lives without needing them to complete you. Remember, the goal isn't to win someone over through strategy or manipulation. The goal is to find someone who genuinely wants to be with you, someone who chooses you freely and consistently. And that can only happen when you give them the space to make that choice without pressure or desperation. When she backs away, let her. Trust that if it's meant to be, she'll find her way back